Holy smokes. It is never a dull day in Heisman City where the PATC community lives. Holy smokes. If this is not a great indication of how scared the ACC is when it comes to jurisdiction versus Clemson, I don't know what would be if this is not it. Holy smokes. Welcome to College Football's Peek Around the Corner with your host, Greg Pflugar. We cover everything in college football because we love everything in college football. And if you do as well, please subscribe to our channel. Smash the like button if you like our content. Share the video with your family and your friends if you want to support this Rebel Outpost College Football channel with a donation. Hit the $, make a comment, and I will get to you super chat as quick as I possibly can. Everybody, please come on in. You are all welcome. Come on in. We've got a stack show. Come on into the studio that sits on the corner of Keith Jackson Parkway and Kurt Gowdy Avenue. Do not be afraid. Do not be afraid to be a legend with your comments in the chat room and with your phone calls later in the show. We got a stacked show. We've got so much stuff going on. The breaking news about, it was about 8 minutes before I was going to come on live. We had to delay it. Breaking news. The great Matt Baker, Tampa Bay Times, went into the response to the ACC court filing. And I think it's embarrassing. You see, in Mecklenburg County, Judge Bledsoe has already ruled in favor of the ACC being the first one to file against Florida State. Florida State had their arguments, but Bledsoe ruled in favor of the ACC in front of the same court in Mecklenburg County. Of course, it's going to happen in Pickens County. The ACC were not the first to file, so they're trying to come up with something. They're trying to come up with something to say, yeah, but. When Clemson filed first, it shouldn't count because we were writing up this agreement. I don't know. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a judge. I think this is kind of desperate, kind of embarrassing to keep bringing this up. It's even worse now. It isn't just that the ACC is saying, look, we were talking with Clemson. We were willing to negotiate with Clemson. And this agreement would have protected us, both of us. We were going to talk. And but that's not all. In this agreement that the ACC was writing up, it was, we promise that neither party is going to sue each other before August 1st, 2024. It had a deadline on it. Clemson's not going for that. And how can that be a part of your pleading? Again, I'm not very smart, not a lawyer, not a judge. We're going to go through that major breaking story from the great Matt Baker of Tampa Bay Times. And one of you can explain to me how this doesn't make the ACC look even worse when it comes to their argument that Clemson filing first should not count. This makes it worse. What am I missing? I pinky swear that I'm not going to sue you before August 1st. They put a deadline on it. They were writing up an agreement that put a deadline. Clemson, you're free. You're free to negotiate with us. No problem. We're not going to sue you. You're not going to sue us. We're not going to initiate litigation to you. You're not going to initiate litigation to us. You're not going to go to your courts. I'm not going to go to my courts. Baba, until August 1st, 2024. What am I missing? That's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. Of course Clemson wasn't going to do that deal. Are you out of your mind? Again, I've got to be missing something. We know that Greg Pflugar isn't that bright. But how I'm reading it, the ACC, holy smokes. We have got to get into that article. I got to talk about a few things before we get into it. So please be patient, everybody. Let me go through Lee Gators. Let me go through everybody who's come on in at the beginning of the show. Holy cow. Lee Go Gators, Patrick, Baylor Bear, Patrick, Richard L, T Ducks, Biggers, Bo the Walking Geek, Chad Bracey, Don in Kansas, Kyle Visser, Larry the GM. We are live. Absolutely. Breaking news. Did I read it wrong? Am I interpreting it incorrectly? I gotta be. The ACC can't be that stupid to put this in their filing, in their pleadings today. Or they're really, either the ACC is incredibly desperate or incredibly stupid, or I'm incredibly stupid. Now, I can buy the third one. But it could be that the ACC is incredibly stupid or desperate or both. Again, I'm going to need your help in interpreting what the ACC just did. I find it absolutely ridiculous. Thomas RTR is in the house. Expedition Greg. Preston from Greensboro. Do not sleep on the Tar Heels wide receiver core. Caleb Ramirez, John Menser, Go Cyclones, Matt Neeson, Ryan Brooks, George Holton, the Florida Man, Chuck Mall 7, the Buckshot Kid is in the house, Randy Taylor, Eddie Williams, Bimba 7579, Kyle Visser, Chad Chapman, Mr. Monkey says, Greg, I promise not to see you today. Yeah, but will you promise not to sue me until August 1st, 2024? August 2nd, it's wide open, baby. It's wide open. But I trust you that I can negotiate with you for the next few months on me trying to get out of the Mr. Monkey Says conference. But August 2nd, you can train your guns at me and blow me out of the water. I can't believe what we just read, what we're going to read about this case. Peter Shields is in the house. Jay Go Blue, Stephen McNeely, the Sheep and Wolves Clothing, the villain himself. Well, now I'm going to have ACC people mad at me. Not Florida State, not Clemson, but the other ACC people. I'm going to have somebody mad at me every single day that I do this show. David Kreitzer, Muggy Wow. Thanks for coming on in. Appreciate it. Tracy FSU, D5 Terps, Gene Watson, Jeremy Norick is in the house. PATC community. Let's go. Let's go. Daniel Gorby is here. Humble, Bumble, Duck, PATC for lunch break. Mr. Husky. Ted Evans is in the house. Tarvis Phillips, what's up, Greg? I need you to help me, Mr. Phillips. I need you to help me because if what I'm reading, if my interpretation of this is correct, the ACC is petrified on the question of venue versus the Clemson Tigers. Minnesota Seminoles is in the house. Nick Kelso is here. KW, Kansas State. Hello, Greg. It's Rick from Kansas. Steve is in the house. Mr. Cincinnati Bearcat. Maybe he can help me. Adam Antabaraz is here. I apologize if I got that last name incorrect. Gorb, the architect. Laura Weiss, Texas Tech. Red Raider, Stephen McNeely. Jimmy is in the house. Michael is in the house. T-Duck is here. We've got a lot to get to, guys. David Hackett is in the house. David Hackett. I now I've lost David Hackett. Where did David Hackett go? David Hackett is in the house. Daniel is here. T-Duck, Eric Phipps, Congo. Mary Croker Rowe is here. Go Clemson. Sky U Pod, Sky U Ma is here. MGC Sooner. David V, what's up from Miami, Florida? Skaven. Yes. Movie Time Blues are web. ACC wasn't onto something. They were on something. I don't understand what I just read. And I'm hoping, beyond a hope, that at least one of you, probably many of you, are going to set me straight. But if all of us are interpreting it, if we all are seeing it the same way, the ACC is desperate. Desperate. Renee is in the house. Immaculate is here. Gives weight to claims that all of this legal dancing around with the ACC is all for show. P. Digits is here. Kevin Ellis is here. Jeff Morgan. P. Lit. Les Austin, Love Sports. Brent Moretz, Clemson alumnus. Thanks for coming on, and we got to get on with the show. We've got to get on with the show. Thank you, R. Webb, for your generosity, for your super chat. I do thank you so very much. Stephen McNeely has become a member for the 7th month. An old-timer, Stephen McNeely. One of the originals. Stephen McNeely, you are officially hereby knighted, cloak and dagger. Holy smokes. Thank you, Stephen, for your continued generosity to this program. Thank you so very much. Okay, first of all, before we get to that big story, I've had a big monologue all set up before that story. Just let me hit a couple things. In fact, I'm pushing off some big stories. But yikes. We are in, I could do about 5 hours worth of live programming. We're not going to do that. Ross Dellinger, in a meeting Wednesday, not enough FBS commissioners supported a June football signing period. Sources told Yahoo Sports. There may not be a formal vote among all D1 commissioners today. The June signing period is at least, for now, tabled. That broke this early morning. Matt Baker broke a story earlier today. This is not the Clemson story that we're going to get to here in just a little bit. The ACC has responded in Florida State's appeal to the North Carolina Supreme Court. It's pretty technical, but it boils down to a few ideas. One is that Florida State will suffer no harm if the ACC lawsuit against the school proceeds. Another is that Florida State did not meet the high bar necessary overturn to initial ruling. A third is that North Carolina courts should determine whether Florida State has sovereign immunity and thus can't be sued in North Carolina. Finally, the conference also reiterates its belief that it didn't do anything wrong by suing Florida State in December. As also of note, at one point in the filing today, the ACC attorneys referred to Florida State conspiracy theories. We're not going to spend any time on that. I just wanted to show you that. There's a bigger story that just broke, but I just wanted to put that out there because that's part of the college football landscape that is going on today. Bruce Feldman projected college football playoff 2024. People are coming out with their projected playoffs. I'm going to do that After we go through all the power conferences, we've broken down 2 of them, the Big 12 and the ACC. We're going to get to the Big 10 next Monday, the SEC the Monday after that. We're going to do our order of finish predictions. Then we're going to get to the G5, Washington State, Oregon State, Notre Dame, and wrap it all up. And then we're going to get to the PATC, projected college football playoff. But this is Bruce Feldman in the 4 conference champion, top 4 rankings for conference champions. He's got the Buckeyes, number 1. He's got the Bulldogs, Georgia, number 2. He's got Florida State, number 3, being the ACC champion, and Utah, number 4. He's got Texas, number 5. And I got a feeling that a lot of us, including myself, are going to be penciling in the Longhorns at number 5. Georgia, SEC champion. But Texas, they are the chalk to be that 5th seed. Number 6, Bruce Feldman, Oregon Ducks, coming in 2nd in the Big 10. Number 7, Ole Miss. Number 8, Notre Dame, playing Alabama, number 9. So Bruce Feldman gets Alabama as the 4th and last SEC team in the playoffs. Number 10, Penn State. That'd be the 3rd Big 10 team that Bruce Feldman has in the playoff. And then he's got Miami, number 11. The 2nd ACC team in the playoff. And he's got the Memphis Tigers, Seth Heniken, the quarterback. He's been there forever. I've got Memphis as my 3rd top G5 team, but I could be moving them up to number 1 before I do our projections. Those are the projected college football playoffs for Bruce Feldman. One more news item that I want to talk about before we get to the big story of the ACC pinky swears that they were not going to sue Clemson. Jeremy Werner, Illinois 247. So much out of Illinois Athletic Director Josh Whitman's annual media roundtable. There was a lot of information that Josh Whitman gave out, but I want to point to a couple of them. 1, about middle down on the screen that you're looking at the picture you're looking at, Illinois plans to use all the allotted $22 million allowed in revenue sharing to compete at the highest level in the Big Ten, committed to excellence. Okay. Now that shouldn't probably come too much as a surprise. Illinois averaged, they had athletic department revenues of $148 million. Of course, they're going to get a big spike here in next year. There's already articles being written about that. Michigan just came out today in their projections. They believe that the conference payout is going to be about $75 million for 2025. That was in their documents today, Michigan. But that does not include the extra, I would say about another $15 million when it comes to the football playoff money. Big Ten schools are going to get $21 million each, but then they're already getting $6 million now. So it's about $15 million more. So the Big Ten in 2025, 2026, their conference payouts are going to be 90, 91, 92 with an escalator clause in it. Just to give everybody peek around the corner. 2025, 2026, Big Ten schools going to be making conference payouts of about 90, 91, 92 million, give or take $1 million. But here's another big part of the information that's coming out of Illinois. Illinois is going to prepare that $22 million as if Title IX will apply. So Illinois is going to evenly split the men's and women that revenue until there's a court decision or until the Department of Education comes out with a statement on it. Illinois is going to split that $22 million right down the middle. And I expect a lot of other Big Ten schools to follow suit. I think they're going to play it cautious. I don't know if every conference is going to handle it this way, every school. So keep that in mind. Until we get a ruling from the Department of Education or a ruling in the courts, schools, they don't know. They have to make a decision on how the allotment of whatever money they're going to use in the salary cap, how much of it's going to go to men's and women athletes. Illinois has made a decision. They're going to split it right down the middle. Okay. Now, we're going to get to the big story. Matt Baker, about 8 minutes before we were scheduled to come on live, Clemson, ACC discussed not suing each other until August. It didn't work. Emails show discussions between the two sides after the Florida State versus ACC litigation began. Matt Baker, Tampa Bay Times. Clemson and the ACC discussed an agreement that would prevent either side from suing the other before August. That revelation is part of the Atlantic Coast Conference latest filing in North Carolina, where the league has sued the Tigers. Both sides discussed a non-disclosure agreement, according to emails the ACC included as a legal exhibit. An agreement one of the Clemson's attorneys wrote in February could allow our respective clients to begin talking. An ACC attorney, Jim Cooney, proposed a standstill agreement where neither party shall initiate any claim, demand, or file a complaint with any court, judicial body, or other similar entity, or otherwise engage in or initiate any legal proceedings against the other before August 1st, 2024. Before today, because the ACC told us in their initial pleadings against Clemson, when they filed in Mecklenburg County, right after Clemson filed first in Pickens County, the ACC in their pleadings described that they were in talks with Clemson, confidentiality between the two, that was going to be agreed upon, and both sides were going to be protected. Nobody was going to sue the other. While the ACC was drawing up this agreement, according to the ACC's own words, used in their first pleadings against first complaint against Clemson in Mecklenburg County. But this is new information. Attorney General, ACC Attorney Jim Cooney proposed a standstill agreement where neither party shall initiate any claim, demand, or file a complaint with any court, judicial body, or other similar entity, or otherwise engage in or initiate any legal proceedings against the other before August 1st, 2024. Why in the heck would Clemson agree to that? Why are you putting a deadline on that? So Clemson is supposed to talk with you. They can talk freely. They're not going to get sued. And it has to do with a business decision. It has to do with Clemson's membership, as we're going to learn here. And they're supposed to do this agreement knowing that the clock is ticking and that after August 1st, the ACC can sue Clemson. Before Clemson can, they're going to both rush to the courthouse on August 2nd. Is that what the ACC was setting up here? That, of course, did not happen. Back to Matt Baker's article. A charter member of the ACC sued the conference in March in its home court, Pickens County, South Carolina. The ACC sued the Tigers back a day later in its home court in North Carolina. The conference's initial suit specifically mentioned talks with Clemson after Florida State and the ACC sued each other in December. So this is February, a couple months later. It said the league agreed to work with Clemson, seeking a business solution rather than resorting to litigation. And that Clemson indicated a desire to work with the conference regarding its own membership. The email correspondent appears to verify that claim. So the ACC, the league, said in its first pleadings that Clemson, seeking a business solution, agreed to talk with the ACC instead of going to litigation. One of Clemson's outside attorneys wrote that school officials would continue a conservative approach and thus will not plan to attend the briefings on the ACC's dispute with Florida State. So this was after Florida State and the ACC sued each other. And this was during the initial talks trying to set up an agreement between the ACC and the Clemson to talk about Clemson's future membership without going to litigation. Clemson was one of the two current ACC members, excluding Florida State, that did not sue the Seminoles. North Carolina was the other. The vote took place on the first day of the interim chancellor's tenure at North Carolina, Lee Roberts. Another email from the ACC tries to define confidential information that could come up during the process and what to do about public records requests to Clemson, a public school. I wanted to make it clear that while the burden was on the ACC to protect information should you receive a request, Clemson could not respond by producing the information unless the ACC either waived, failed to take action, or lost whatever action it took, Cooney said. So the ACC wanted protection during this during this talking about a business solution with the ACC. ACC did not want Clemson to be able to use the information later. It could not be released unless the ACC waived, or Florida State and Clemson are pursuing similar but separate claims against the ACC. Both are seeking clarity on how much it would cost to leave the league. The exit fee alone is about $140 million each, and the value of future TV money puts the total cost at more than $500 million apiece. So again, this is the PATC money shot. The ACC attorney Jim Cooney proposed a standstill agreement where neither party shall initiate any claim, demand, or file a complaint with any court, judicial body, or other similar entity, or otherwise engage in or initiate any legal proceedings against the other before August 1st, 2024. Before August 1st, 2024. That is the new information. And I am interpreting it this way. The ACC argued in the court, Mecklenburg Court, that the jurisdiction, the venue should be in Mecklenburg County. Bledsoe agreed. The arguments went back and forth between Florida State and North Carolina. Florida State is arguing jurisdiction in Leon County. We just did a 6-hour live stream on that on Monday in Leon County. And the Judge Cooper denied the ACC's motion to dismiss. It is difficult, in my estimation, for now the ACC to argue that Clemson's is not the first filer in this case. Clemson filed first. They got the drop on the ACC. It's pretty clear. They filed first. And now the ACC cannot use the same arguments that they did against Florida State, because the ACC physically filed first in that case. And Bledsoe, in his ruling, gives great precedent, he leans towards the party that actually filed first, and that's what the ACC did. But in this case, in Mecklenburg County, as Clemson is trying to dismiss it in Mecklenburg County, the ACC is trying to come up with something to say that Clemson's filing first should not count. And this, to me, is their argument. That we were drawn up in an agreement. We were drawn up in an agreement. And Clemson stabbed us in the back. They went and filed first. We didn't know they were going to do it. They should have done it. We were drawn up in an agreement. Now, in Clemson's pleadings, in Clemson's argument, Clemson's like, there was no agreement. We signed nothing. Our argument is different than Florida State. The Clemson that's Clemson's argument. So, what do we got? We got a July 2nd. We've got a July 2nd hearing. First one in Mecklenburg County between the ACC and Clemson in Mecklenburg County, July 2nd. Now here at Peek Around the Corner, if there is a live stream, we're going to be covering it. You better believe it. And then July 12th is the first hearing in Pickens County, ACC and Clemson. In that July 12th, they're going to be talking about ACC's motion to dismiss it out of Pickens County. And they're also going to be talking about Clemson's motion for summary judgment on their first cause, which Clemson is saying the day we're no longer a member, we get our own media rights based upon the ACC and ESPN media rights agreement tied with the ACC GORE. Our content isn't necessary for that agreement between ACC and ESPN to continue. So in accordance to the media agreement that none of us can see, but Clemson has seen it, and they say it's in plain language, Clemson should be allowed to get their media rights back the day they're no longer in the conference. Clemson wants a judgment on that as soon as possible. And it looks like part of the July 12th hearing is going to be about that summary judgment. Now, the ACC has filed complaining that it should not be a part of the July 12th hearing. Remember, a lot of this is a race to judgment. Clemson's going to try to get through the court system in Pickens County before ACC can get it through the court system in Mecklenburg County. But when it comes to jurisdiction, when it comes to what venue this should take place in, the first filer is Clemson. Now, obviously, the judge in Pickens County and Mecklenburg County are going to have the final rule saying on that, of course. But this, to me, is a desperate attempt for the ACC to maintain first file against Clemson, just like they have against Florida State. I'm going to open up the phone lines. Jamie Thornton, 7 months until ESPN has to accept or decline the ACC's option for 2027, 2036. That is correct. There's also about 10 more days on those who believe about the dissolution theory, that 8 schools are going to get together and vote to dissolve the conference. You got about 10 more days to get that done because SMU is going to become a member July 1st, a voting member. And once SMU becomes a member, then what are you going to need? 9 schools to vote for dissolution. Never been a believer of it. We've said that from day one, but I know there's people out there that are hoping for it. They believe it can happen. So you got about 10 more days on that. We also reported here at Peek Around the Corner the last 7-10 days that we were told that the June 20th Board of Trustees meeting at Florida State, that wasn't anything to do with realignment, conference affiliation. We were told that wasn't gonna be a part of it. I have not heard. I don't think anything came out of the meeting today that had anything to do with that. So, but if I'm wrong, let me know. But we were told about 7 to 10 days ago that June 20th meeting wasn't going to give us any news that we were interested. Okay. I'm going to open up the phone lines. Phone lines are now open. 763-260-1333. Now, I can, if people want me to, I can open up the court proceedings, but Baker covered it. I don't think we need to. I don't think we need to go into the emails because This
Call from
Steve.
Steve. The floor is yours.
Well, you mentioned in your monologue as you were going through people that were viewing that maybe I could help you out with this.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know that I can help you out with this, Greg. I mean, in my former life, I was part of a lot of two-party negotiations.
Yeah.
When one side came to the other side and had a so-called, we used to call it a truce, and put a date on there,
Yeah.
that date held some significance of some sort. And with the August 1st date, I'm approaching it like that. I'm thinking, okay, SMU and Cal and Stanford now, are they all members, right?
Yeah.
August 1st or whatever.
Yep.
But I'm trying to see what angle that would have. You know, I can't put two and two together here.
Well, I mean, okay, so what if, I mean, that's a great point. What if Jim Phillips, their lawyers are thinking, okay, we got the jump on Florida State because they were so vocal. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, everybody, Florida State needed to do it in public in accordance to their university bylaws. Clemson did not have to talk about it in public before they initiated suit against the ACC. They did not have to be in public in accordance to their bylaws. So what if Jim Phillips is sitting here going, well, we were able to get the jump on Florida State, but we might not be able to get the jump on Clemson. They might go into the middle of the night and get this done before us. So therefore, if there is this possibility of if this magnificent 7 schools or whatever, if there's a possibility of dissolution, we can try to stall this out until August 1st, to try to stall out and make sure that Clemson, to bottle up Clemson, that they cannot file a suit against us. And that August 1st is an important date in regards to that dissolution theory. It's a possibility, Steve. You might be on something here. You might be on something.
But I still can't figure out the significance of whether SMU, Cal, and Stanford are all there, whether they're there or not. You see what I'm saying, Greg? Why that would change anything. But that August 1st date, when things like this have happened in the past, and I've been it's like that date means something. And to me, would have been that the ACC's thinking, okay, now by August 1st, maybe Florida State has done their damage, and we just bought time trying to keep Clemson.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? I don't know. I don't know what their angle is, Greg.
I don't know.
To be honest with you.
And Clemson hasn't really, in their pleadings, they haven't really talked about this in any detail other than to point out to the court, look, there was no agreement. We didn't sign anything. They were writing it up. We didn't sign anything. We had the right to sue. There was no agreement. Now, if I'm Clemson, and maybe I'm reading this wrong, somebody set me straight if I'm reading, if my interpretation is, I don't know how. If obviously Clemson went to the ACC and said, can we talk about a possible solution to our
Yeah, that's
membership
been
issue.
public knowledge, correct?
That's in the
knowledge.
pleadings. But what I'm saying is, Clemson goes to the ACC and says, let's talk about this, but we want to be protected, confidentiality, and we don't want to get sued. The ACC says, yeah, okay, let's talk about it. So, but at some point, the ACC attorney, I got it up on the screen, ACC attorney, this is the ACC's own words in their pleadings today, Jim Cooney, at some point, he proposed the standstill agreement. Neither party initiated any claim, demand, or file a complaint, judicial body, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Don't sue each other. Pinky swear. But then it's the date of August 1st, 2024. Yep. And my question is, why would Clemson agree?
Never.
They
Never
would. If there's a deadline, if there's a date like this on there, basically you're handcuffing Clemson. You're saying, yeah, we'll talk to you up into a certain day, but then we're going to be free to sue you, Clemson, and we're going to get the jump on you. We can make sure we can for whatever reason.
That's right. Yeah. For whatever advantage they may foresee.
Yes.
The ACC may foresee an advantage to get a jump on them. Yeah. But I still can't. If I'm on Clemson's side of the table, I'm going, you guys really think we were going to do that?
Yeah. And
so anyhow, Greg, I wish I could help you. But that August, that date is what right away it jumped out at me.
Yeah.
And so it's gone through my head.
Yeah.
Why August 1st? And the only thing I come up with is SMU, Stanford, and Cal. Well, that doesn't sway the thing one way or the other. It just doesn't.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe somebody can come up with better reasoning than what I have right here. Yeah. But hey, have a good afternoon and evening.
Appreciate it, Bearcat Steve. Thank you so much. Great call.
Yep. Talk to you later. Bye.
And so let's push this discussion forward. Obviously, the ACC is using this. The ACC's using this as their argument on venue. Tell me how this works.
Call from
Immaculate.
The floor is yours, but I'm going to ask you a question first.
Yeah.
How does this argument that the ACC is putting out helps them in the argument of jurisdiction? I mean, just because they're writing up an agreement, Clemson did nothing wrong here, as far as I can see. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, actually, I really wasn't planning to call in, and to be honest, I don't always see eye to eye with Steve. We don't see eye, but I think you nailed it on this one. But once you said that, it was just kind of like one of those light switch on, like, that's the 3 new votes. So I had to think, okay, so he's right. Like, that in itself probably isn't enough. So what if when these legal proceedings are started, say like settlements come out of it, if Stanford and California and SMU are not part of the conference yet when that started, are they then no longer able to receive anything from that? You see kind of see where I'm going? Because they're not signatories to the ACC when this whole process started. If this process ends in like a mediation, like he's trying to push mediation or a settlement comes directly from it, I don't know. I'm not a legal expert, but that might mean that Stanford, Cal, and SMU wouldn't be able to get a part of it, and for some reason the conference would want them to. I don't know.
Well, maybe Jim Phillips wants to make sure that they have a voice in this settlement talk. Like they become a voting member,
Mm-hmm.
And they're gonna be tightly tied to Jim Phillips, right? I mean, he's the guy who got him in there, and yeah, I think Steve brought up a great point, and I think you brought up a great point because because the suit happened before Clemson sued ACC, ACC sued Clemson before SMU, Stanford, and California became voting members. Now their voice can't be heard on this particular future possible settlement or more suits or whatever on Clemson. But all that is speculative. I mean, we're just speculating.
Yeah.
But if you get then if you go forward with this, I mean, what is the motivation for the ACC to bring this up again in their pleadings and putting out a deadline date, which I find hilarious? I'm thinking. Let me know what you're thinking, Immaculate. But I'm thinking they don't have anything else to argue their case on who the first filer who should be considered the first filer.
Yeah. My mind kind of goes in the same direction as they're going. So, I could just be completely wrong still. But I look at Phillips and I say, okay, where'd he come from? He came from Northwestern. His background is with the privates. Now we're talking about Stanford and SMU and then California, which is basically Stanford's +1. So even though they're not a private, they probably go along with whatever those schools want. And I've kind of felt that the ACC knows they're going to lose a bunch of schools. And I think they know that the vast majority of those schools, maybe all of them, are going to be public schools. And if this conference is going to stay together, it's probably going to have to be private university led. And if you're going to do that, you kind of want Stanford in the room.
Yeah.
Like you just do. That's going to be one of their leaders of the future. So maybe there's some line in that. I can't come up with that right now. I don't know, but just that's where my thoughts tend to go a lot with the ACC is that once you lose your top public schools, it becomes a private university dominated. So, Stanford coming in and, as much as we boo on SMU, good Lord, the amount of money that they just announced that they had raised. I mean, we have to take them seriously. And as a school coming in with big money, if that's the direction the conference is going, their opinion is actually going to be listened to. Because money, right? Like, that's how it is.
Yeah.
So
we do have a little bit of breaking news, of course, because you're on the. Jim Phillips for coming out. Credit ACC Commissioner Jim Phillips for coming out to the annual Sports Media Convention in Charlotte this year. Andrew Carter this afternoon asked about the lawsuits. Jim Phillips says, we're going to fight it with everything we can. With what has been agreed upon twice, the grant of rights deserves to be executed. You can't expect them to say anything different than that.
Yeah.
But I thought I'd just throw that out there.
Yeah, I mean, that's their legal position, right? And you stand strong on that until settlement happens. I don't think this at all is going to judgment. They don't have time. I don't think either side has time for that.
Yeah.
But they're buying time, and that's really also what that looks like as well. Like they're trying to buy time to improve their position, to have more schools there for the vote. Because maybe they didn't know exactly who was going to vote in which direction at that time when this was all, being talked about.
And if ACC cannot argue effectively in Mecklenburg County to Judge Bledsoe. And I think Judge Bledsoe's in a tight spot because he ruled in favor of the ACC on being the first filer, and he's going to have to go, in my estimation, he's going to have to go against some things that he said in that ruling to make it so this case should be in North Carolina as the ACC being the first filer against Clemson. If it goes pear-shaped for Clemson, if it goes pear-shaped for ACC in regards to venue, and maybe we get a whiff of that on July 2nd, and if it goes pear-shaped for the ACC on July 12th, if the Judge Gravely in Pickens County makes a sudden, quick, or soon after ruling judgment on the summary motion, then then what happens is Clemson gets leverage, right? Especially, if they're the first filer, if Judge Bledsoe goes, yeah, in this one, Clemson is the first filer, and I gotta lean to Clemson. It should be, the case should not be held here in Mecklenburg County. Then suddenly the leverage is on Clemson's side, and then maybe ACC finds motivation to go to the negotiation table.
Yeah, as someone says in chat, that is quite the conundrum when your base argument for why you should have primacy is now would also then be used against you and why you would lose primacy. Yeah. And that looks to be like, as Steve was saying in his call, why they wanted this, because they were probably going to try, if they got you to agree to that day, they were just like they did with Florida State, they're going to have someone waiting there first thing in the morning.
Yeah.
You can file that because I don't know if people know that when you're filing with these courts, you can set up appointments. You can set up an appointment with the clerk of court at a specific time to come in there and file and have no line, nothing. And when you tend to be an influential party within the state, that's not hard to do.
Yeah.
So that's probably what they would have did is just, got them to make an agreement on an exact date and then race them to court, basically. But yeah, that's pretty wild.
It's wild.
I don't know. We'll see. I'll let you go with that one.
Got it.
Props to Steve on that one because I was going, I have no idea, but I think he nailed it.
Yeah, Steve nailed it. Thank you, sir.
Talk to you later.
Appreciate it. Phone lines are open, 763-260-1333, 763-260-1333. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe and turn on your notifications because we can come on live at any time. Sometimes we have a PATC breakfast. We come on live during the morning, sometime during lunch. Oftentimes are about 5 o'clock Eastern time, 4 o'clock Central. Sometimes we come on at night. Sometimes we do 2 live shows because we have to. Because we go where the story goes in college football. ACC said, sure, Clemson, we'll talk. Right after Florida State sued the ACC and the ACC sued Florida State, Clemson went to the ACC and said, can we talk without suing each other? And can it be confidential? The ACC said, yeah. But they also put a deadline on those talks.
Call from
BJ.
BJ, the floor is yours. What are you thinking, sir?
What's up, Greg? Thanks for having me on again. Nothing has really changed. But the don't sue me, I won't sue you is not a great business standpoint or risk mitigation stance. but it kind of coincides with the perception of the ACC outside of the ACC offices, right?
Yeah.
That they're reactive. They are Fortune 500 company ran like a mom and pop shop. But you brought something that was very interesting. The position that Judge Bledsoe put himself in by kind of interpreting the rules the way he did puts him in a conundrum because he can't use that same stance and argument against Clemson, right? So I'm curious to see what maneuvering he's going to do to make sure the ACC wins, because that's going to happen. He's going to maneuver it in a way so they win. I'm just curious to see how, in the manner in which he does it. Or maybe I'm wrong. I don't know what you think about that, but he has to rule in the ACC's favor, right?
Bledsoe?
Yes.
No, he doesn't.
Do you think the same stance he had with the ACC FSU case, he can take the same stance?
You just said you said that. I thought you asked me, does Bledsoe have to rule in favor of the ACC? And
what I mean, have to, as in order for the ACC to have any kind of leverage.
Yeah.
Like they have to win in North Carolina.
Well, yeah. I mean, it would be better for their leverage, definitely, if the proceedings continue in Mecklenburg County, in regards to the ACC versus Clemson, no question about it. But I don't think I don't think Bledsoe necessarily has to rule in favor of the ACC or Clemson. I take him as a judge who's probably will rule in whatever he believes is, the law. So I don't want to put a certain motivation on him. You know what I'm saying?
Gotcha. That's fair.
Yeah.
And I don't look at him personally as a part of the problem necessarily. Mm-hmm. He's just a position, and typically in high profile cases like this, imagery, politics, that it plays a part. Unfortunately, it does. Because I think with the FSU case down in Tallahassee, with Moody coming out the day before with her stance, I think you'd be an idiot to think that wasn't dog whistling to, the courts in Tallahassee, her stance. And maybe, I think it's quite obvious, but maybe folks have a different stance on that. But as it pertains to FSU and Clemson, I do think they're going to leave. Of course, we kind of talked about this before, but I think the previous caller talked about it being a private school conference. I think that's not a bad idea. I would love to hear your stance on it, but having a conference with Duke, Stanford, Wake Forest, BC, right, Miami, possibly even a scheduling agreement with Notre Dame, I think that'll be, a pretty, for its composition, we're a decent conference.
Yeah.
What is your opinion on that?
It has to be attractive enough to to potential media partners. So I don't know.
I'll say this, Greg.
I'm not hot or cold on it.
I'll say this, Greg.
Yeah.
So Notre Dame, Stanford, they don't have numbers like Florida State or Ohio State, but they have a certain type of people that watch their games. So I think, when you have schools with endowments to the size that they have, endowments to me just equates to business relationships. I'm not saying they're going to get $50, $40 million a year, but maybe for schools, private schools like that, maybe $30 million is enough, right, to keep them, in the Power Five and to keep them afloat. But if I'm a TV executive and I can get, the Stanford graduates, the Duke graduates, the Notre Dame graduates watching my product, that's never a bad thing, in my opinion.
Yep.
So, and again, thanks for having me on. I appreciate you every time you let me come on. Have a great day.
BJ. Appreciate it, sir. We do got some breaking news on Arizona athletics. It's pretty interesting. Chris Hughes. Maybe Bledsoe rules in favor of Clemson in order to help North Carolina get out of the quagmire and can then negotiate with the Big Ten, the SEC to leave.
Call from
Nathan Bomber Brown.
Nathan, can you hold on for a moment, sir?
Always.
The Bomber is here, but I got some cleaning up to do. I'm behind. Great comments. Hold on 1 second, sir. Chris Hughes, Super Chat. Maybe Bledsoe rules in favor of Clemson in order to help North Carolina get out of the quagmire and can then negotiate with the Big Ten and the SEC to leave. I don't think Bledsoe's thinking about North Carolina as he rules over these cases. Thank you, Chris Hughes, for the Super Chat. I do appreciate it. It could help North Carolina and how Bledsoe rules, but I don't think he's motivated by that. Now, thank you so much for your Super Chat, Chris Hughes. Thank you for your generosity. Mary Croker Rowe does say something very interesting. Bledsoe does want to combine both cases in North Carolina. Yeah, good luck with that. But that is one of the things he has said in the courthouse. So, boy, I think again when it comes to jurisdiction, venue, I think it's going to be a tricky case for ACC. Very interested in what Bledsoe has to say. Nathan, the floor is yours, and then we'll get to the breaking story on Arizona athletics. Go ahead, sir.
Great show again, Greg. Thanks for being on top of this for us. I appreciate it.
You got it, buddy.
So, one thing, I'm not shocked or surprised, and I don't think people should be shocked or surprised that the ACC tried this, right? Anything to get ahead. They knew Clemson was on the edge. It just didn't work, right? So at the end of the day, Clemson did the right thing. I think what this really speaks to is what are the next steps? What does Miami do? How does Miami feel about ACC trying to get ahead and sort of have an advantage? Does that make them more, susceptible to doing their own thing sooner? And I think that carries forward to the other schools. Not North Carolina State, but definitely North Carolina. Anything to get ahead of the process, which is, I think, right now, really the issue. It's a process problem now, and not so much about, who comes first or second until the judges rule. So if I'm Miami, I'm thinking maybe we do want to sue sooner than later to get out ahead, because there is a possibility. There is a world where Clemson is still locked up in litigation, and FSU is still locked up in litigation, but Clemson gets out because they filed first and they have a little bit different rules in South Carolina.
And they might get that summary motion judgment earlier, but then Florida State, ACC, will appeal that decision. But yeah, you can see a pathway where Clemson gets out ahead of Florida State.
Most definitely.
Yeah, the interim president of Miami hasn't been in his seat very long, but I'm wondering if some discussions haven't picked up. So.
Don't you think it's probably pretty accurate that every university, let's just lean on the 7 that we're talking about getting together last summer, they all have to be thinking ahead, don't they?
Yeah.
If they haven't had meetings in their athletic departments, in their administration, about what they're going to do when this blows up, all those people should be fired.
Yeah, they have. But, once you get a new leader in there, and their new leader it's interim, but their new leader is very big on sports. So unlike their former president, so we'll see.
Well, and I think somebody's still looking to be that University of Colorado, the first one out type person, right? Because the first one out might have an advantage, might have more lucrative offers, all of that.
Yeah, you are correct, sir.
All right. Well, keep up the good work. Appreciate it. I had some time this afternoon, so I wanted to check
Nathan.
in.
You gonna have a show tonight, or you don't have one on Thursday usually, do you?
Not normally. No, not tonight. But we do have our members only show tomorrow on Miami and what Miami is going to do. So that's what we're thinking about now.
Beautiful. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Greg. You bet. Bye bye.
Okay, I just took the phone off the hook for a moment. I know more people want to call, and that's fantastic. I guess I did not get it off the hook fast enough.
Call from.
My cheese has slipped off my cracker.
My cheese have slipped off my cracker. Can you hold? There is breaking news I'm trying to get to here. Can you hold on one moment, please?
Greg, it's Ryan, so it has to be breaking news.
I got it. Thank you, Ryan. Let me pop this up so people can actually see it better. Breaking news, June 20th. It just broke. Now, I have not been able to read it all, but let's take a look. Arizona Athletics announces Arizona Sports Enterprises as their multimedia rights affiliate. The University of Arizona Department of Athletics has created an Arizona Sports Enterprises to manage its multimedia rights agreements and operations. Vice President and Director of Athletics Desiree Reed Francois announced the transition of multimedia rights is part of the department plan to build a modern college athletics model adaptive and responsive to the fluid national landscape and to provide a strong financial foundation as Arizona enters the Big 12 Conference this summer. The creation of the Arizona Sports Enterprises will allow Arizona Athletics to strengthen its connection to corporate sponsors, elevate Arizona Athletics as a brand, and allow the athletics department to focus on delivering more value to its partners. A strong financial model is critical to our ability to continue providing a first-class experience for student athletes to compete at the highest level, to develop as champions, classrooms, ASE, they're calling it, Arizona Sports Enterprises, plans to engage with Learfield as its exclusive third-party national sales firm. The story didn't go the way I thought it was going to go, but anyways, schools and athletic departments are being restructured around the country, changing landscape. Holy smokes. Ryan Thomas, the floor is yours. What do you think? What do you think about the pleadings the ACC had today in Mecklenburg County against Clemson?
I'm going to be a big piece of soggy cheese on your hamburger, Greg.
Got it.
I'm going to just, yesterday I had the calm the bleep down call.
Yeah.
I'm going to have you better grab a Snickers moment right here. I'm going to say this, that, like I said, FSU is a different boat. It's a different animal, and how much FSU gets out for is completely dependent on the ACC's risk tolerance, and that's a separate matter. The rest of the ACC, including Clemson, might I Nothing is happening until February 2025. Nothing. So, folks, anything you hear right now is complete, utter nonsense. And I will tell you why February 2025. First of all...
Wait a second. Time out.
No? Oh, well, you got to let me finish, Greg, because I'm going to explain to you why February 2025 is important.
Got it. Go ahead.
First of all, the congressman who introduced that bill on employee status, Bob Good, was defeated in his primary on Tuesday. Okay, he's gone. He still will be in there, but he's not going to have any ability, and he's not going to carry the torch over the finish line. And you know, this whole issue of what happens with Title IX, employee status, all the stuff we have to think of is probably not going to happen and even get started until a new Congress is seated in January of 2025 and a new president is sworn in on January 20th. Okay? Second of all, at that same time, a new North Carolina legislature will take its seat, and there may or may not be a new North Carolina governor. So that will control who sits on the Board of Governors for the...
Well, there will be a new North Carolina governor. It might not change parties, but there'll be a new governor.
Yeah, I mean, but you're going to have someone new there, okay?
Yeah.
And you're going to have a new legislature in general, and that could change the dynamics of what goes on with the Board of Governors, okay? So that's second. The third is that all-important ESPN option. And ESPN may want to see what happens with all this stuff as far as how athletes will be treated and sort of what materializes with the governance process. Now, they will certainly try to influence what happens there. They will certainly be a part of all of that. But they really can't make a decision of how they want to either reshape the ACC or how they want to reallocate properties or do anything until, on that option, probably until next year. And like I said, if they exercise that option, then the cost for FSU getting out, regardless, it goes up, or if the ACC settles sooner with Clemson, you have a whole new legal battle on what should be the appropriate exit fee for members because of that FSU settlement. And that will be something that could take years. And I think that is something to keep in mind. And also, ESPN right now is in the midst of, the NBA money negotiations. And, we might see, it might be a matter of ESPN sort of will evaluate at the end of the year what money it has moving forward in the future for future priorities. And that could also have a bearing on what it does with the ACC option. If it drops it, then like I said, it probably won't drop it until the very last minute, Greg. And when that happens, then, we sort of will go into the normal realignment free-for-all. But I don't think anything substantive outside of FSU having settlement talks with the ACC, outside of FSU having actual settlement talks with the ACC, and the normal court proceedings between Clemson and the ACC and the FSU and ACC, nothing is going to really happen because nobody really knows what the landscape's going to be. And in many ways, ESPN will control the tempo of what goes on here. And they'll control how fast or how slow this thing disintegrates. And then after that, the North Carolina Board of Governors will decide essentially what UNC is allowed to do, whether or not they can go free on their own or whether or not they have to take their Wolfpack backpack. And those will be the things that are all going to be driven. And we've got some time and some events that need to transpire, NCAA governance rules, elections, a whole bunch of things, Greg, lobbying by different interest groups. It's all going to take a little while. So all I'm saying is grab a Snickers.
Okay. Holistically, You are correct. However, I cannot go as far as you when you say nothing is going to happen of importance. Nothing is going to happen until February or whenever.
Oh, I mean, I mean conversations with conferences and realignment and all that stuff. I mean, like actual, like, we're going to have meetings with XYZ conference in such and such area and due diligence and all that great stuff.
Yeah, I am very interested in that July 12th hearing in Pickens County.
I think that actually you'll have to talk to Justin, but Justin had mentioned something that motion may have been denied.
For summary motion?
Yeah, because I think
I have not heard that. I'll get.
Justin, if you're listening, Justin, call in and let us know. I know that
the ACC has filed a complaint against it, but I have not heard that the judge has ruled.
Oh, no, not ruled, but he's going to allow basically the ACC to kind of make their argument, but Justin had pointed something out on another chat, so if he's listening, please call in and inform us on that.
I'll reach out to him if he doesn't. All right, sir.
So my cheese is off my cracker, Greg, and I had to really put I had to really put everything. I had to really put I had to put that big soggy piece of cheese on your nice juicy hamburger and ruining your grilled onions.
Got it.
But I think everyone look. All I have to say is if anyone says that there's an agreed upon deal and something's a done deal or ready to be signed, they're absolutely lying to you.
Got it. Well, I have not heard that, so.
Well, you said the same thing yesterday, right? If anyone says anything's a done deal and ready to go, it's it's not true.
Yeah.
And so just remember, people, Greg is telling you what he hears and what he knows, but like the rest of us, him and his sources are completely dependent on how the wind blows, depending on a lot of factors. Yeah. Great show, Greg. Take care.
All right, sir. Appreciate it. Chris Hughes, thank you so much for your super chat. I do appreciate it. There is a great chance that the ACC extension can be delayed for another 6 months or 1 year. ESPN has every right as long as there is litigation. I have not heard that ESPN can extend it again. They've already extended this decision once. Jim Phillips gave them that extension until supposedly February 1st, 2025. I have not heard that ESPN and Phillips can make another deal to extend to give ESPN more time on the decision whether to extend. Maybe they can. I have not heard that, Chris Hughes, so I'm not saying you're wrong. You could be right. I have not heard that. Thank you so much for the super chat. Interesting comment. If anybody else wants to comment on Chris Hughes' statement, there's a great chance that the ACC extension can be delayed another 6 months or 1 year. ESPN has every right as long as there is litigation. Very interesting. Very interesting. I believe that Kansas quarterback injury did not, that report was not from I think it was a hoax. I believe it was a hoax. So, just a refresher here. Just a refresher. Hold on. Whoops. I screwed up. Just to show everybody real quick here. The last couple Mondays, we've done a breakdown of the Big 12. We've done a breakdown of the ACC. Next Monday, we're going to do our PATC order finish on the Big Ten. Then the Monday after that, SEC. Then we're going to go into G5s in July. Once again, talk about Notre Dame, talk about Washington State in Oregon State. But just to refresh everybody, 2024 PATC order finish prediction, Power 4 conferences. Thus far, this is our prediction. We're not changing them. We are not changing them. We're going in to August 29th. No, we're going into what? What is it? August 24th. Whenever Georgia Tech in Florida State play in Dublin, Ireland, this we're going with this. Big 12, number 1, Kansas State, Utah, number 2, Iowa State, 3, Kansas, 4, UCF, 5, West Virginia, gonna finish 6, Arizona, 7th, Oklahoma State, 8th. That is probably my most controversial pick. The Cowboy fans are not happy with me. Number 9, Texas Tech Red Raiders. Number 10, Cincinnati Bearcats. Number 11, Deion Sanders, Colorado. Number 12, the Baylor Bears. Number 13, BYU. Number 14, TCU. Number 15, Arizona State. Number 16, Houston. We did a live show on this. This last Monday, 4 days ago. If you missed it, go watch it live. I do a heavy breakdown on every team in the Big 12. All the key players, all the weaknesses. So go check it out. In the ACC, we did this 10 days ago. 2 Mondays ago. Number 1, North Carolina State. Yes. North Carolina State is going to win the ACC championship. I fell in love and I could not get out. I could not get out of my love affair with the Wolfpack this year. And we talk about it in great detail. Go check out our live show 10 days ago. Number 2, Florida State. They're going to get back in the ACC championship game. They're loaded for bear. On defense, their offense, I've got some questions. But they're going to be very good. I think I've got Florida State going to the college football playoffs this year, along with North Carolina State. Miami is absolutely loaded, but Mario Cristobal is going to keep them from. They're just going to miss the college football playoffs. The Hurricanes coming 3rd. Clemson number 4. The quarterback situation is not going to be good enough. The defense is going to be excellent once again, but Clemson comes in 4th. SMU number 5. Preston Stone, SMU number 5. Louisville number 6. Virginia Tech 7. Haynes King, Georgia Tech. They're going to score even more points this year than last year. The Rambling Wreck of Georgia Tech comes in 8th. Number 9, California. Jaden Ott, Mendoza. California's going to score more points than they have in the last 5 years. Defense now the defense have slipped. Justin Wilcox, California. Number 9. Number 10, North Carolina. They're going to take a couple steps back, losing their great quarterback. The Tar Heels coming 10th. 11th is Duke. Malik Murphy, he is the big wild card in all of the ACC. He would be the quarterback of Texas Longhorns if they did not have Quinn Ewers, the number 1 high school class in his class, the number 1 rated quarterback. Arch Manning, the number 1 quarterback rated in his class. Malik Murphy, he's got a whole lot of talent. He's got a whole lot of skill. The Duke Blue Devils, 11th. Syracuse, 12. Kyle McCord, the quarterback from the Buckeyes. Fran Brown's first-year head coach of the Orange. 13. Boston College, Thomas Castellanos, the quarterback. The fire plug, Bill O'Brien taking over. Going to be very interesting. Boston College, Pittsburgh. Don't like the quarterback situation. They've already named QB1, and I don't think that should have been done. Number 15, Wake Forest. Number 16, Stanford, Virginia. Gonna finish last in the ACC. That is my predictions. Order of finish. Just for everybody who's, didn't watch those live shows, give them a look. Give them a look. Now, what is going on here? Thank you, Steve Bearcat. We got more breaking news. We've got more breaking news. Chris Pesman is out as athletic director at Houston. He was the guy who just hired Willie Fritz. He was the guy who fired Dana Holgerson. Is there a scandal coming? Somebody says scandal incoming. Was this anticipated? Was Pesman anticipated to be out? Did he leave? Did he get fired? What is going on in Houston? Let me know. Let me know in the chat. Thank you, Bearcat Steve. I don't know if it's a scandal. I don't know anything. What is going on? What is going on? The architect. Jeez, Greg. I see why they call you Greg the Cooler. The architect. I'm telling you. I just did the impossible. I predicted 33 teams exact finish. What do you say about that? 33-0. All 33 correct. I even broke down all the tiebreakers that are going to happen. The architect, watch, wait, and see. Wait and see. SMU raised over $145 million for football. Unbelievable. D5 Terps heading to Las Vegas now, Flugs. Thank you all, Queen Morales. Don't forget to smash the like button. Okay, let's open up the phone lines. We've gotten through all the breaking news going on here. Holy smokes. June 20th has been a very busy day. 763-260-1333. Let me know what you think. Matt Baker. I'm going to put it up on the screen again. ACC attorney Jim Cooney proposed a standstill agreement. Neither party shall sue each other before August 1st, 2024.
Call from
JD.
JD, Mr. Seminole is on the line. How you doing, sir? What is going on? What is happening? What are you thinking, sir?
How you doing, Greg?
Doing good. Been a busy day. Busy day here at Peek Around the Corner.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. I'm going to ask you a few questions, and it'll lead up to what the conversation that I want to have. The ACC added teams last year. What was the reason they added Cal, Stanford, and SMU?
The reason stated is the ACC wanted to be proactive in grabbing Power 5 programs now rather than just in case they lose teams Florida State, Clemson, and possibly a couple others leave, then there might be only to be able to bring in G5 schools. So they were being proactive. They wanted to grab and then SMU greased the skids, obviously, to make it work out. But they wanted to grab a Stanford or to California because they could grab them now. They might not be able to grab them at the time of Florida State and Clemson leaving on a settlement. So I believe Jim Phillips sort of gave everybody a clue that a settlement is going to be the ultimate future of this because he was backfilling already. But go ahead.
But you've heard it was important for the ACC to be at 15 teams, correct?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why is it important for the ACC to be at 15 and not fall below the 15?
Because it's in their media agreement. But
exactly.
But I will point out it's not drop below 15 teams. Like, for example, how many teams is there now? There's let's say, for example, Florida State, Clemson, we're just pretending here. Florida State, Clemson, North Carolina, Miami, Virginia. Let's say there's 5 teams that come out tomorrow and say, we're gone. We're filing a notice of withdrawal. The membership doesn't officially drop below 15 at that point. It drops below the 15 the next July 1st of the next year. So it's not
but
like...
But does it?
Yeah, it does. Yeah, because you're still a member. You're still a
well,
member.
you've lost your voting rights. You've lost your ability to conduct business. You've lost all your business. So you're no longer a member in good standing. You're just finishing out the contract. So I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm asking these questions because I'm going somewhere with this because I've asked that exact question to a couple people and I haven't gotten an answer back.
Well,
but let's think.
Yeah, ESPN is still, you're still playing the schedule. You're still getting wins and losses in all these sports. ESPN is still distributing your rights. And I think you're still getting paid, but you have to start making plans on repayment. I've read that bylaw a few times. I could post it again. But I don't think you get as much. I think they're going to start withholding revenue and all that, but you're still a member until July. I mean, Clemson is making the argument that if they leave, let's say they could leave now, they're still a member of the ACC until July 1st, 2025. Right? You're still a member. Just because
they haven't
you file a
announced
notice
they're
of
leaving.
withdrawal, you're not withdrawing as a member until the following year.
But well then let's go the other direction.
Okay.
Then why was it so important to add 3 teams last year? Why were they in such a rush to add Stanford and all the rest of them last year?
According to them, according to the reports stating Jim Phillips, and Jim Phillips said this in interviews, is they wanted to be proactive now because they wanted to get Power 5 members into the conference. Because if they wouldn't have acted on Stanford and California now, then those 2 schools would be tied up with some sort of grant of rights in some other conference. Highly probably. Okay. So this is a way for the ACC to grab some power conference schools now instead of waiting later when there might be only G5 schools remaining to get it back up over 15 once schools leave.
And I'm not, when I speak, I'm not like talking down to you or anything like that. I'm not doing that.
But we're doing what we do, man. You, JT, and the fat guy from Minnesota, we're just putting it out there.
Well, I think it's very possible Jim Phillips, that's exactly what the ACC wants to do, but that's not everything. You notice when the ACC attorneys were wanting Clemson to agree to, basically no lawsuits, nothing else until a certain date.
August 1st.
When was that date?
Yeah.
When the ACC gets above that threshold that the composition clause doesn't become a factor.
Yeah.
That's when it gets over that threshold. So let's say that FSU's rumors, and there's other people talking about it again today, not just Regal Knoll, there's other people, that if they do plan to announce by June 30th, well, that might mean that it's not FSU and Clemson leaving at the same time, but it's FSU. So maybe in the contract, maybe it's not just what your current membership is, maybe it's what the voting – in other words, once a member announces, maybe in the contract that means that technically it's your voting membership or members in good standing. So you have one member that's on the way out the door. So technically your number has dropped to 14, not 15. I don't know that, and none of us know that. I can't tell you you're wrong on the other aspect because I didn't even consider that till recently. But it's just I didn't even consider this concept till you started your show today. I actually started listening to it, and then I had a meeting, and I missed a good bit, and I missed some of your first phone calls. But I came in on the end of Immaculate's call. I didn't hear the first part, so I didn't know if you'd already discussed this. But I'm just saying that it's a little disingenuous that the ACC is also saying, "Oh, well, let's just get into this agreement until August 1st of 2024. Let's just agree not to sue each other." Oh, well, at that point, we're in a majority, and screw you, Clemson. We could tie you up for years, because people would say, why would FSU choose to announce now? Once the ACC gets to 18 members, FSU will be at the mercy of the courts until this is all finished. If the rumors of the composition clause is real, if all that is true, I tend to believe it is, because the ACC was hell-bent on getting to 15 as quick as they could.
Yeah,
with those three new members coming in.
Yeah, I understand why people believe that, and maybe they're correct, but again, ACC's membership just doesn't get eliminated, doesn't fall at the time of it. They're announcing a notice of withdrawal.
And that's the part that I don't know, because, but I also look at let's just say you didn't necessarily have that opinion, or let's just say you believed or you considered the possibility of an FSU announcement to be plausible. Then look at these other details and how they fall into place, and you'd be like, okay. Well, I see the AC's motivation.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to debate this whole announcement thing. I'm kind of tired of talking about the announcement thing. I'm just noticing all these things happening on a daily basis. It's like, wow. If they did announce, I understand the point. I understand why they would, because then you could get out. Let's just say there's people that claim that it's not that ESPN can opt to trigger the composition clause. There's people that say it's an automatic trigger. So if that's the case, not only is that an opportunity to get out for FSU, it's the opportunity for others to get out. Again, I don't know, and I can't prove to you that any of this is going to happen. I can see why, if it is true, why they would try to do this before June 30th, because that's when SMU joins.
Okay, so I got the ACC bylaw up on the screen, 1.4.5 withdrawal of members. To withdraw
Yes.
from the conference, a member must file an official notice of withdrawal with each of the members and the commissioner on or before August 15th for the withdrawal to be effective June 30th of the following year. So you're not withdrawn. You're still a member until June 30th. So I don't think
But see, we don't.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. No, but we don't know what the clause is in the contract. This is the ACC bylaws, but it's not the ESPN contract. The ESPN contract has nothing to do with the ACC bylaws. So I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm saying we don't know.
Yeah.
I'm saying we don't know. And because I held the same opinion you did until there's some that are adamant that no, the composition clause would cover if these teams get out before enough is added as voting members.
Yeah.
Before. So I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm saying it's possibility. And that could be some of the, that has been what some people have insinuated. If they were to be announcing soon, I could see the reason why they would, is kind of my point. But anyway, I just thought that, go ahead, I'm sorry. I keep interrupting you, I'm sorry.
Now, nothing really happened to the meeting today, right?
No, it was, Michael Alford, it was a Zoom meeting, and when Michael Alford was on there, actually, I think they did it 2 hours early. They weren't even supposed to do it till like 3:30 Eastern time, and then people had said they've already had the meeting. Michael Alford, when he checked in, he was on a plane. He was getting off a plane from Omaha.
Yeah.
So nobody had suggested that anything would happen during this meeting. And there's people that'll say it'll be as soon as next week or maybe into July. I just don't understand how it would be into July if the composition clause is what they're trying to use as a method to get out. I don't know. I don't know.
SMU becomes a member on July 1st.
Yes.
And so, yeah.
I'll throw the caveat out there. You remember how you were adamant that Clemson was going to announce and then they didn't? And then 6 or 8 weeks later they did.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that doesn't happen for FSU. I'm not the insider, but I'm trying to get those that would have inside knowledge. Again, I use this word a lot. Push back on some of these things, and nobody does. That's why I give it some validity.
Yeah, we had heard that Clemson was going to announce that they were suing.
Yes.
Not leaving. Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All
yes,
right.
Sir.
All right. Well, we got 10 more days this month, and we'll see what happens.
We'll see. And then, like I said, I'm kind of tired of talking about, they're going to announce. They're going to announce. I'm just going off of what other people are saying, people that have been right up to this point.
Yeah.
But if they were, the strategy by the ACC in trying to convince Clemson not to do anything till till after August 1st is them just trying to run out the clock, and then because then Clemson will have lost any leverage if the composition clause is a possibility. They'll lost it all. And to what one of your callers was saying earlier, and I'm fixing to wrap this up. Jim Phillips is the one that gave ESPN the option to extend, gave them the opportunity to extend the option. They gave unilaterally. Well, now you're going to have the voting members would be all for extending that another year or two. FSU and Clemson wouldn't, North Carolina wouldn't, but the rest of them would. To them, this is a great deal for them. So they're like, yeah, we'll let you give ESPN another 2 years to decide, or another 3 years to decide. And then, FSU and Clemson could really be stuck, because now the exit price continues to go up. So that's the aspect of the ACC has no intent on settling at the moment. They've got to get those 3 new members in. They've got to get them in. So anyway,
all right, man.
I'm rambling a little bit.
Beautiful,
but there's just a lot of things going on.
Yeah,
Thank you, sir.
there is. A great call, JD. I do appreciate it, sir.
All right, have a good night.
Thank you. Show you a John Wilner post that just came out. Arizona athletic budget for 24. Revenue, $95 million. Expenses, $128. A shortfall of $33 million. Shortfall of $33 million. And then you put on the fact that Arizona, if they want $22 million in revenue sharing, are they going to be able to do the whole $22 million? Yikes. Now, that revenue is going to go up a little bit. But, man, that is quite the hole for the Arizona Wildcats. Phone lines are open. 763-260-1333. A great call by JT, Mr. Seminole.
Call from
Jeff Fuller.
Jeff Fuller, the floor is yours. Thanks for calling, sir.
Yes, sir. Greg?
Yep.
Yep. Can you hear me?
Yeah, the floor is yours. Yep, you got it.
Great. So I've missed, pretty much all the callers, just catching up on the show on my drive home.
Yeah. You're breaking up, Jeff. Yeah, I'm sorry, Jeff. I'm going to have to let you go. You're breaking up. Ed Cook, people need to reread Judge Bledsoe's opinion, allowing the ACC to proceed. Being the first to file was not the sole basis. You are correct. That is true. Also said North Carolina was the proper forum in any event. Well, I would agree more with the first part than the last part. There was part of his ruling was that that the ACC was first to file. Clemson's situation is going to be different. It's going to be interesting, but you are correct, Ed Cook. It wasn't just who filed first. Okay, I think we're going to wrap it up. We've been on the air for 2 hours. Breaking news we covered today. Matt Baker, ACC attorney Jim Cooney proposed a standstill agreement where neither party shall initiate any claim, demand, or file a complaint with any court, judicial body, or other similar entity, or otherwise engaged in or initiate any legal proceedings against the other before August 1st, 2024. Wow. Look, interesting days ahead. We got 10 days left before SMU becomes a member of the ACC. Does that change anybody's strategy in regards to all this in the ACC? I don't believe so. I don't believe we're going to get anybody filing a notice of withdrawal before August 15th of this year. But we shall see. A lot of smart people think it is going to happen. I don't think it is going to happen because I still do not understand the advantages of filing a notice of withdrawal. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. I want to thank everybody for coming on in. I want to thank all the generous donations we received throughout our show. Thank you, R. Webb, Stephen McNeely, Chris Hughes. Thank you so very much. Thank you for the chats, the comments in the chat room. Incredible, incredible phone calls. If you're new to the show or if you haven't done it yet, please subscribe. Open up your notifications because we can come on live. If there's more breaking news, we could come on live again later tonight. We go where the story goes. So please hang with us here at Peek Around the Corner as we cover everything in college football. Illinois' athletic director, Jeremy Werner, is reporting that Josh Whitman's, Illinois' athletic director, said they're gonna do the whole $22 million allocated in revenue sharing to their student athletes. However, they're going to abide by Title IX. They're going to cut it evenly between men's and women student athletes. And I don't think Illinois is going to be the only school that does it. They're definitely not going to be the only school that does it in the Big Ten. They might all do it that way until we wait for a Department of Education ruling, or if it's ruled in the courts. So many things going on in college football. We're trying to cover it all here at Peek Around the Corner. I do appreciate your patience. We came on a little late today because there was breaking news from Matt Baker in the courts in Mecklenburg County. Holy smokes. Stay with us. Stick with us. Make sure you subscribe, smash the like button, and have those notifications turned on. Until next time. It could be later tonight. It could be early tomorrow morning. Until next time. From all of us at PATC to all of you, please, you all take great care of each other. Thank you so very much.